Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Warnida Abu Bakar and I will present our first assignment on the topic a study on how the factor of economics is incorporated in the design of building construction project. First is introduction. In the introduction, it will define and explain the clear concept of the term building construction project life cycle, design phase, factors that influence the design of building construction project in general. And then, secondly, we will take a look at the 3 case study and that elaborate the features of economy which associate in the design of building construction project. And then we will look at the scenario, the problem phase, and the control measures. And then at the end of study, we will understand the project life cycle in building construction projects, and then we will identify what is the difficulties in the design phase of the building construction project as claimed by the designers, for example, by the architect, by the engineers, and by the quantity surveyor, project managers, and so on. And then lastly, we can identify the features of economy that associate with the design of building construction project and the effects on the decision-making process. The second is background of study. As defined by Santoso ETL 2003, building construction project is an organized process to construct a building from the building concept, feasibility study, design until the completion of project that acquire a long period and different stages. There are 6 stages in the building construction project which identified by Suleiman and Lavara in 2016. There are conceptual design, schematic design, design development, construction documentation, construction bidding, construction administration. However, it may vary depend on the complexity of the project. However, TAN ETL 2018 defined the project life cycle in building construction project have 5 stages. There are project planning, design, construction, operation, and commissioning. We zoom in the design stage in the building construction project because this assignment is only focusing on design. So there are 2 stages in design stage. There are preliminary design and detailed design. The first one is preliminary design. It more focuses on the concept and feasibility study of the building project. For example, architectural concept, or we call it building concept, design alternative, cost, sizing, capacity of the project. And the second one is detailed design. It more focuses on the process of breaking down, analyzing, and designing the structure in the form of drawing, specification, and bill of quantity. And then it involves the calculation, analysis, checking, assessment, cost estimation, value engineering, review, auditing, and detailed drawing construction by using AutoCAD or Building Information Modular, BIM. And lastly, approval. Approval might come from the supervisor, from the project manager, from the project director, or from the local authority. And then the detailed design must take into consideration the maintainability of the buildings and the risks could be faced during the construction project. There are 2 factors that influence the building design. First one is internal factor and the second one is external factor. The internal factors might come from the owner, for example, financial problem, unclear design brief, and changes in the scope of work. The second one is from the consultant and the form contractor. For example, the unrealistic schedule and design period, unclear information in the tender document, lack of consultant or project management knowledge, lack of coordination, and financial problem. The external factor influenced by economy, politics, and environment. For example, weather condition, unpredictable natural disaster, ground condition, geological condition, change in the policy and regulation, inflation, shortage of material, and changes in market demand. Usually, the external factors are beyond the control by owner, by consultant, or by the contractor. So as designers, if they are failed to overcome all these factors, it might lead to the failure to the project. And then we take a look at the sustainable development in the building construction project. As defined by Hopkins 2016, sustainable development is the development which meet the needs of present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This sustainable development from a building construction perspective, it can be defined as a development of innovation in green building design. It involves the usage of natural products and green resources in building design. And of course, this sustainable development or green building design are influenced by the economic factor. It is important of sustainable development or the green building design because it is a world nation agenda to meet the sustainable development goals or to prevent the climate change and the degradation of the resources. So this study is emphasizing on the economic factor which incorporated in the design of building construction project from the perspective of green building design and conventional design. So that's why a long elaboration just now on the building construction project, economic factors, sustainable development, and green building design. The third one is case study. We take a look at the case study on building construction industry in the Sweden, Tanzania, and Sri Lanka. The first one is Swedish building construction industry study case by Hemström ETL in 2017. The study investigated on how the factor of economy is incorporated in the innovative design of green building construction project in Swedish. So the methodology used are interviews and questionnaires. The respondents are architects, structural engineers, project manager, and interior designers. So the architect as a major respondent because they are responsible at the early stage of design, building, and the selecting of building material. They also play a role in the construction phase. So the result is main cause of the innovation in design or the implementation of green building design cannot be done is the economic factor. So the element of economic factor that identify in this case study are one is higher capital investment and the second one is higher in initial cost. This is because in the construction industry in Sweden, they are only focusing on initial cost project rather than life cycle costs. So because of this higher cost, their local government and building construction player, they have less interest in implementing sustainable development or green building design. Thus, Hemström recommended that the government should have financial incentive, then the government should have better economy and have more money, large finance, and then the government and the local building industry player initiate the research, knowledge, testing, and commissioning of green building products and implementing the life cycle costing. So this is the figures that shows the economic factor become the main barrier to implement the green design in Sweden. And also at the end of study, Hemström asked for cooperation among the clients, stakeholder, consultant to initiate the innovative design in green building construction. The second one is Tanzania building construction industry study case by Suleiman and Devara in 2016. So the study is investigated the factor that lead to the change of design in the building construction phase and the impact of this design. So the methodology used are interviews and questionnaires, and the respondents are architects, structural engineers, and quantity surveyors. But at the beginning of the study, we identified that the design in the building construction project have 6 stages until the project are executed, and the design stage involved in the early phase of building construction project implementation. But the design might change in the middle of the project implementation due to several factors. So, this study investigated the factor that lead to the change of design in the building construction phase. Also, address the impact on these changes in Tanzania. So the result shows that the main factor that lead to the changes in the design during the construction phase is the economic factor. So the element of economic factor that they identify in this case study are shortage of material, inflation, price fluctuation, which these three are the external factor which beyond the control of the client, consultant, or the contractors. And the other two element of economic factor is poor financial management practice and underestimating the cost of the project. Then the effect to the design change during construction period, delay of the project, increase in the overrun cost, abandoning the project, wastage of material, and conflict between the parties, either the owner, the contractor, or the consultant. They may blame each other for this delay of the project. These figures shows the rank of economic factor that influencing change of design of building during construction stage. The first one is inflation and price fluctuation, and the second one is shortage of materials. So in this study, Luvara and Suleiman recommended that a proper feasibility study during a planning stage, full involvement by all parties during the planning and design stage, they have clear project brief by the client, they have enough time for designing the building by consultant, and they have sufficient financial either by owner, by consultant, or by contractor to running the business, and the involvement of the experienced technical person. The third study case is in Sri Lanka building construction industry by Warishange and Ramachandra 2018. The study is to examine how the factor of economic associate with the green design of building construction project. The methodology used is comparative analysis of selected green building and conventional building, and then from the data tabulated, they are using the life cycle costing analysis, and this life cycle costing analysis is based on the criteria of the Sri Lanka Green Rating and Green Star Rating. So from this study, the result shows that the main economic factor that affect the green design of building construction project in Sri Lanka is initial cost. The result shows that by implementing the green design in the building construction project, the project cost will increase by 37% compared to the conventional building design. The project cost, of course, is influenced by location, the climate change, the culture, the values, and the time of implementation and size of the building. Why the economic factor is important in green building design is because it is the direction of the project either to construct a green building design or non-green building design. So in this study, Wirasinghe and Ramachandra recommended that Sri Lanka construction industry should use a project life cycle costing analysis rather than initial cost. They also make a life cycle costing analysis in this case study, which they identify that there are cost saving 21% in green building design over the life cycle of building lifetime. Next is discussion and recommendation. From this case study, it can be identified that the key economic factor in the design of building construction project is internal factor, which is higher in initial cost, higher in capital investment and project cost. The second one is external factor, which is inflation, market price, market demand, and market material shortage. The external factors are usually related to current political circumstances in a particular country. And another cause that identify is lack of financial management practice. The study also identified the economic factor is more affected by sustainable development and green building design. It shows by the increase around 37% of project cost based on the Sri Lanka case study. And then the study proposed the implementation of project lifecycle costing to overcome this issue. The return of investment, ROI, shall be calculated through the building life cycles. In this study also, they identify the barrier to adopt sustainable development and green building design because of the government or the authority policy, a lack of incentive, a lack of awareness and understanding among stakeholders and industry players, and there is no champion in green building design. So, they recommended that every stakeholder needs to be part of the collaboration and give an incentive in order to reduce this barrier. This is because green building design also involved in comfort, durability, and economical building, and is also important to address current and future environmental concerns. So lastly is the conclusion. The economics factor give more greater impact on sustainable development, green building design, and as well as design innovation. The discussion of project brief among stakeholders and project teams need to be clear and understandable so that the direction of the project can be identified. The decision-making process can be done either to develop a green building design or conventional building design because the implication of the cost varies. The building design shall benefit the stakeholder, value for money, and economics. Policymakers must have a clear vision on sustainable development so that the stakeholder, the industry player, and the designer have no choice but to invest in the green building design. And the last part is references. These are my references on the case study in this assignment. Thank you.